Hello, lovely people. It has been a couple of months, and I believe it is about that time for another unpopular opinions video because what the hell, Beyonce, is actually going on? Obviously, we are all entitled to our own opinions, so I don't expect everyone to agree with me or like what I'm going to say. So before we kick things off, please be sure to like this video and subscribe, and let's get started. I don't think Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover warrants all this discussion. In case you missed it, Sabrina recently announced her upcoming 7th studio album titled Man's Best Friend, set to be released in August 2025, in which the announcement coincided with her lead single, Man Child. As of the time of the release of this video, the song is performing quite well, but what has dominated online forums and social media pages is the art cover of the album, which features Sabrina on all fours, in a little black dress, caressing presumably a man's leg, while the man grabs Sabrina by her hair. Upon the release of this album cover, led to immediate backlash from people online claiming that Sabrina is setting women and the feminist movement back by 100 years, and also some people applauding her for executing a satirical play on misogyny and objectification. But wait, you guys, there's more. Merely 24 hours later, Sabrina doubled down as her Rolling Stone cover was released, which featured an completely nude Sabrina. There were tweets from users vehemently against Sabrina's choice in her album and magazine cover, in which they said, "I find this aesthetic so gross. Never felt disappointed to a fave celebrity, but here we are." And another person has said, "We made the wrong person famous. She seems incapable of imagining a different aesthetic. This is all she does." Even if framed as funny satire for shock value, is neither subversive nor empowering. It repackages harmful, overused tropes for controversy and profit. And another person says, Sabrina has never been for the girls. She's never embodied the female gaze. She's the type of man-hater that men prefer, putting on the image of a sexy and vengeful femme fatale, but all in the name of male attention and love. And another person said, I'm a little concerned about people's inability to immediately clock that the cover is obviously a commentary on the way women are treated, especially with the context of Man-Child and the album being called Man's Best Friend. Like, guys, oh my freaking gosh, think. In which someone else responded by saying, Sabrina Carpenter could literally say F all women and y'all will say it's satire. Like, I can't. On the other side of the spectrum, there are people who did not see a problem with Sabrina's cover art as they chalked it up to her using satire to explain her overarching point. There are users that said, the message Sabrina is trying to convey is that women treat women like their pets, etc., but the cover doesn't necessarily help that argument due to the fact that the general public is dumb and unable to comprehend satire. And another person said, genuinely the coolest thing she's done so far, weed out the radical feminists and people who have zero sense of irony and people who morality police sexual expression. And another person that said, cunty and controversial, something that y'all pop girlies are lacking nowadays. Y'all are always saying we want divas back, problematic pop girls back, fearless pop girlies back. She's giving y'all that. This is so Madonna coded in a sense. And another person that said, Gen Z feminism has so violently pivoted to the right-wing prude culture that women can no longer be sexy because men might enjoy it, so women like Sabrina must be shamed and criticized. One might even call her a whore for what she's wearing, but it's woke, so it's okay. Overall, I am more aligned with this line of thinking that this user mentioned. I think Sabrina's album cover can be satirical, but I also think it could still be very off-putting for many women, and they're allowed to feel that way. While I am interested to see how Sabrina plans to contextualize this art cover to the rest of the album, I also can understand why many people, or women specifically, find this cover and her magazine cover disturbing. I would not go to the length of saying that Sabrina sold her soul, or that the powers that be are forcing her to do this, that she is advertising herself, but if people find her recent imagery uncomfortable or regressive, then that is fine because frankly, it is quite weird that when people who may not be familiar with Sabrina's music, the only time they see her is when she is on her knees for some overly sexual reason. This does not bother me as much as it probably should, maybe because I already did a video on Sabrina last year about this same topic, so at this point it is very clear that Sabrina is continuing to play into people's criticisms and could not care less about the backlash. Either way, Sabrina is not the first nor the last female artist to take a more risque trajectory in her career, so let's see how things continue to play out for her in her career. As Jay Versace said, one thing by Anne-Marie is extremely hard to sing. I never heard anyone sound good singing that song. I feel like people were being way too hard on Anne-Marie for a performance on NPR's Tiny Desk. If we are keeping it all the way real, she has always sounded like that, and quite frankly, she sounds just like the studio versions of her songs. Anne-Marie has always been far from a powerhouse vocalist in any capacity, and she is more so someone who was, and still is gorgeous and delivered quality, nostalgic 2000s classic bops. Nothing more, nothing less. We don't know each other well, so why I keep thinking of myself. Memories just keep bringing back. Tomorrow ain't really guaranteed. So many days I thought of you. It's about time you know the truth. After watching the video, I was so confused because I thought she sounded fine, but I did not realize people thought she sounded horribly until I saw some comments in which people were saying, giggling at all the Amory revolutionaries getting mad last week because they were bamboozled into fighting over a song, Crazy in Love, that she never had the ability to sing in the first place. And another person that said, TikTok is having a field day with Anne-Marie's Tiny Desk performance. Someone said it sounded like how you feel when you don't have your hair done. But I am more aligned with this person that said, I know I am not seeing girls who listen to Mariah the Scientist talking ish about Anne-Marie's vocals. This is no slight to Mariah the Scientist, but we have so many artists these days who are super popular and have stands for some reason, but absolutely cannot sing. Many of our faves cannot sing live, and we don't say anything because they are quote-unquote a vibe. But the bottom line is, if we could give our favorite struggle singers a pass, then Anne-Marie definitely deserves a pass, especially since there are not as many songs out right now that can stand the test of time like One Thing or Why Don't We Fall in Love. While we're on the topic of early 2000s icons as well as recession indicators, I really hate that Nelly has Ashanti doing reality TV shows. If you haven't seen, the newly wedded couple, rapper Nelly and singer-songwriter Ashanti, have a new reality show coming to Peacock titled Nelly and Ashanti We Belong Together. While I am happy that Ashanti was finally able to get her happily ever after with marriage and a baby, I don't understand why she agreed to pivot to reality television because, for one, she has always been very private with her personal life for her entire career, so it just seems so uncharacteristic of her to start having cameras in her face, especially as a new mom. Nelly has done reality television before, so he is used to this lifestyle, but secondly, I am fearful for Ashanti because we have all seen the impact of the reality show curse, which is the trend of couples who appear on reality shows experiencing relationship problems or breakups soon after or during their time on the show. We have seen this curse impact couples like Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert, Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, John and Kate Gosselin, Jessica Simpson and Link Lachey, Tamar Braxton and Vince Herbert, LaToya Luck and her ex-husband who told her he's going to holla at her as soon as he left her to head to the airport. Cynthia Bailey and Peter Thomas, and once again with Cynthia Bailey and Mike Hill, as well as pretty much almost every relationship on the Real Housewives shows except for Kandi and Todd. Anyways, the point is, I don't think it is ever a good idea to bring the entire world into your home, as it could put a spotlight on the cracks that the couple is attempting to seal with super glue. I hope things continue to work out the best for them, as I absolutely love Ashanti and want to see her happy and thriving, but I can understand that with a new child, the bills gotta be paid, and a reality show is the easiest scheme. I feel like this may be a super controversial take, but honestly, I think legacy artists should not release any new music. At a certain point, I think it is okay to just tour, perform, and coast off your greatest hits catalog and not feed into the pressure to compete with the current generation of artists or create a sound they think might resonate with this era, but completely strays from their typical quality of music. As much as this pains me to say, I say all this to say that I hate the new Mariah Carey song, Type Dangerous. Though I know this song is a preview to Mariah's upcoming 15 studio album, and I also have seen positive reception towards the song, it just feels unnecessary to me. I'm the absolute biggest Mariah Carey fan, but I would feel perfectly fine if she put a period on releasing new music after her 2018 album Caution. I freaking love that album and thought it would have been a great conclusion to her career. But I think another aspect that frightens me is how rude, disrespectful, and insulting this generation can be towards legacy acts when older artists show signs of being past their prime. Lil Wayne is another artist who I feel similarly should not have put out any more albums unless it was a collaboration album. Though I appreciated the Carter 5, I knew the decline was near. Not in terms of Lil Wayne's actual lyricism, but just the quality of production and increasingly unlistenable songs and forgettable tracks. But with this recent release of the Carter 6, I mean, it really breaks my heart to see all the negative comments. Lil Wayne is undeniably one of the greatest, so to see so much slander and horrible reviews is disheartening, and goes back to my point where I think some artists should just wrap it up. But there are some instances where it works for certain artists like Nas, who's been on a streak of releasing albums back-to-back for the last few years, which has featured some of the best rapping of his career, and even belatedly won him his first Grammy. But either way, make no mistake, Mariah is still the only artist who knows how to skillfully incorporate the word rigmarole appropriately into a song. Please give it up for my songwriting Hall of Fame skinny legend. This is my first time watching Love Island USA, and all I can say is, what in the Halle Berry is this show? This show is so chaotic, freaked out, uncomfortable, and simply nuts. But my real unpopular opinion is Hudda is a whole weirdo. I don't even think this is unpopular because I see the whole internet slandering Hudda and Jeremiah's relationship, but given that she is the only one on this show that has a child, what are you doing on a 6-week-long competition show away from your kid? Not only that, given that your child is probably or should be the most important detail about your life, especially since you are on a quest to find a new stepdad, why are you withholding that important fact about yourself to the man that has already developed feelings for you? I saw this tweet that said, unpopular opinion, but I think keeping the fact that you have a child away from someone until they like you is low-key wrong and messy. I'm sorry, I'd be livid.
I'm going to bring up something because I wanted to be honest with you, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, that I really trusted you and that I really liked you. Everything is changing. I am a mom.
Oh my God, hold on, let me go. Oh my God.
You okay?
You're a mom?
Yeah.
And you're 24?
Yeah. Over 4 years.
How many kids?
1. Look at me.
Hold on, I can't.
Everything is changing, and I can't do this anymore. Everything is changing.
Given that Jeremiah has mentioned that he has never dated a woman with children before, this is not news that is easy for anyone to receive, especially when they don't currently have kids, and most importantly, never had any intention to date someone with kids, especially given the fact that they are on a dating competition show for mainly single childless people in their 20s. It is very selfish and deceptive for Huda to withhold that information and then try to proceed business as usual and delusionally act like her and Jeremiah are the parental figures of the house.
Flashy thing, like, you know, people are like trying. Lee Taylor did that little dancey thing. I'm just like, can you do more?
You did ass. Sorry, it's just been a lot. The stuff I've been having to process between us the last few days has been a lot. You know what I'm saying? If you have a whole kid, it sounds like that's a bad thing, but it's just like I'm still getting my bearings.
Anyways, the cracks in this fraudulent and fragile relationship has already started to show, and I just know that the inevitable crash out from Huda and or Jeremiah will be must-see television. For my last few unpopular opinions, I want to give special shout-outs to some of my loyal subscribers for their comments. Kevin RG3YC said, I have a few, but here we go. Normani still has a chance to have her moment if she put the effort in. Leaving RCA Records and completely rebranding her sound, persona, career of Rihanna, Sabrina Carpenter, and Janet Jackson proves your debut album not doing well is end-all be-all. Like Sabrina Carpenter, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. But it is still so disappointing the way Normani completely abandoned Dopamine. Occasionally, I go back to the album and I get sad because there are a few gems on there that had the potential to make some noise, but the fact that we haven't heard a peep from Normani since the first weekend the album dropped is nonsensical. Like, I understand just dropping the album out of contractual obligation at that point, but not saying a single word about it throughout the rest of 2024 and not doing any social media promotion to hype up her own hard work is nuts. We as fans cannot keep blaming RCA for failing to promote her or give her the resources to succeed. At the end of the day, the onus should be on the artist to promote the work that they are proud of with or without label support. I think all of the years of online bullying she received during her time in Fifth Harmony, as well as the pressure to become the second coming of Beyonce as a solo artist, really took a toll on Normani's emotional and mental health, along with her personal family issues, coupled with the fact that I don't think she was ever really passionate to become a music superstar. Even as a fan and spectator, the music industry looks brutal and cutthroat, so I can understand if Normani realized that the music is something she no longer wants to take part in. But I think it's time for the fans to be honest with themselves and let this girl go. I guess we will see her again with Fifth Harmony plans to make their highly unanticipated comeback that nobody, and not a single soul asked for. And once again, while we were on the topic, Black Allison De Laurentiis 1996 said, not sure if this is unpopular, but here's my take. Camilla was the worst member in Fifth Harmony. Her singing isn't great, and that nasally tone of it really clashed with the other members. This honestly should not be unpopular because I thought it was widely agreed, understood that Camilla always had the worst voice, which is still so perplexing to me how she became the breakout star. I still think Lauren and Ally Brooke had the best voices, but that is neither here nor there. Dr. Drama Mama said, oh honey, I have a few, but they all have to do with pop music. Nicki Minaj's legacy does not excuse her behavior, and the longer this goes on, the less her legacy is valued at all. And Cardi B is taking way too long. She's losing her chance and momentum. She can only keep releasing singles for so long. Offset stole her light, I swear to God. I definitely agree with the first point because some of Nicki's unhinged antics last year with the whole Bigfoot drama with Megan Thee Stallion was despicable. She is lucky the whole world was too distracted and busy kicking Drake's back in last year to focus on Nicki, because otherwise, I think social media could have went in a lot harder for all the continuous drama with her husband, as well as her seemingly beefing with Jay-Z and Roc Nation. But I must say that I miss Nicki. Her presence, or shall I say void in the rap game, is felt heavily whenever she is quiet for a long period of time. I often go back to her music and I am in awe of her unbelievable skill set, her flow, lyricism, delivery, and dominant aura in the rap game. She is truly the greatest female rapper of all time and my personal top 5 rapper of all time. You all may hate me, but there is nothing she could do that would make me hate her. I'm sorry. As for Cardi B, I already made a whole video on Cardi's lack of motivation and endless excuses why she has not released a new album after almost a decade. So I advise you all to watch that. But to keep things short, Cardi has her priorities all messed up right now. Like, instead of chasing after Stefan Diggs everywhere and being on Twitter Spaces all day, she could and should be in the midst of rolling out a new album or on tour promoting this non-existent album. Recently, Cardi posted and deleted on her X account, "I'm going live about Atlantic at 3," in which someone asked, "Oh dear, what happened? Oh my gosh." In which Cardi said, "I'm being tried by these new people and I'm not doing nothing no more." Because apparently Atlantic has undergone a restructuring and removed most of the essential executive that was with Cardi and supported her during her invasion of privacy era, which I could imagine is super frustrating for an artist of Cardi's magnitude. I saw this tweet that said, "Artists, producers, and songwriters do not, I repeat, do not sign a contract without a key man clause. This protection allows you to leave if the person you signed to is no longer at the label, publishing company, etc." Though that clause is not easy to get negotiated, I briefly spoke about this element in my Michael Jackson video, as he was in a negotiation to renew his record contract in the late 80s and reportedly had a key man clause in his new contract that stated he was only obliged to CBS Records only as long as Walter Yentenkov was still employed by them, given that Walter was a staunch advocate for Michael throughout his career. In response to that post and delete, as usual, Cardi hopped on Spaces to explain her frustrations.
Crashed out the other day. It was just truly a disagreement, and not only was it truly a disagreement, it was also a middleman saying stuff. And it's like, when like somebody is like in the middle saying something, words get translated wrong. People don't know who said what said this, what said that. Like, everybody wants me to drop it. My label wants me to drop it really bad. That's actually like one of the things that they've been discussing, that I just feel like because me personally, I don't really want to drop nothing. I want to drop everything at one time. But that's one thing that is like, we like, okay, I don't know, man, please drop it. So it's like, y'all see the reaction of just one little preview of a song. What makes y'all think that they don't want me to drop the rest of my fucking album?
Nicole Sherman 8974 said, "I said this before, but the 2020s will not have a distinctive music movement like the 2000s or 2010s because artists are relying too heavily on nostalgia. It's not bad to give callback, but trying to make it seem like it's brand new is not moving the needle forward." As someone who was not on Tumblr during its peak, I do think TikTok is trying to be the watered down version of Tumblr, i.e. trying to put artists and their songs on, but at the same time, the hit song becomes annoying and repetitive. Love Doechii down, but I'm tired of hearing Anxiety. I sadly agree with the sentiment, and it is demoralizing when I think of the future of music 10 to 20 years from now. I try to envision what classic songs and records we will have to reflect and reminisce on that does not feature a lazy and recognizable sample from the 90s and early 2000s, which already defined a particular era, and honestly, the future looks very bleak. When I see artists like Pink Panthers say that when people look at the fashion or aesthetics of the 2000s and the culture and the way people just cared a lot less than they do now, I think that really appeals to them. I guess reviving it is the only way we could really imagine ourselves in that time. It highlights the fascination and level of intrigue people have to recreate an era that embraced and exalted individualism and uniqueness, which paved the way for some of the most memorable music across genres. I saw a tweet that said, "I think the issue with sampling today is that they're too familiar. Artists should be going back to the 80s to grab samples, not the late 2000s or early 2000s. And they should be looking for records to sample that aren't so recognizable." This is a perspective that perfectly explains the lack of performances from new or current artists and the several nostalgic performances at this year's BET Awards, in which someone mentioned, "BET said F these new artists and just pushed the button on 2000s nostalgia," in which someone else responded by saying, "Because all the new artist music is 2000 samples, if we are being honest." As a side note, I feel bad for saying this, but I actually prefer Doechii's version of Anxiety over the original Somebody That I Used to Know song and instrumental. I know everyone is annoyed by it, but her rap and vocal performance on it really resonates with me for some reason, though I know that her song has irritated the whole world. We really can't be upset that Kai Cenat did not know who Wale was. In case you missed it, the streamer Kai Cenat was invited to this year's BET Awards, where he presented and streamed the entire show as his cameraman followed him everywhere throughout the night. At one point, Kai and Wale ran into each other in the parking garage, where Kai thought it was a normal interaction with a supporter or unnamed public figure, until Kai's Twitch chat informed him that the man he stumbled upon was the DC legend, rapper Wale.
You good? What you playing on your Nintendo Switch? Smash. Smash Bros? I'll beat you. Yeah. Chad, does anybody have the Nintendo Switch? You're not even a Nintendo Switch type of nigga. Nah, me neither. I ain't gonna lie. But I heard it was like crazy though. video was crazy, bro. Wally. Oh my God, that was somebody crazy. Hey, the whole chat knows him.
Wale.
Wale? What he do?
Rap.
Oh, word?
Like Lotus Flower Bombs and all that stuff.
Oh, shit. That shit making me look crazy right now, just let you know. What? That's making me look crazy. The exchange that we had in the hallway. Oh, my bad, bro. I mean, they running with it, but we'll talk later.
Once the clip went viral, Wale responded online by saying, "This is crazy. I didn't know we was being filmed both times. We played in a celebrity football game last year. I was really confused." Kai then responded to the controversy, in which he said,
"You got that bomb. Nigga, I know this song. Yes. 100%. Nigga, this is a banger."
Okay? I was 9 years old when this shit came out. I was 9 years old when this song... I ain't gonna lie, bro. I genuinely did not even know who Wale was, but when he approached me, I was still confused. He said I made him look crazy, but when he approached me, I was, yo, chat. You could even tell I was so confused, bro. Like I just did not know, gang. You feel me? Y'all gotta understand, bro. 9 years old. Do you know what my mom was going through when I was 9 years old, my nigga?
There's this tweet I saw that said, "This is the difference for me when it comes to this Kai situation. Y'all see them as hip-hop platforms, and I see them as social media influencers. Kai is more Mr. Beast than Rap City. I don't care how many rappers pull up to his platform, he doesn't do anything in music." In which journalist Andre Gee responded by saying, "They become de facto hip-hop platforms when artists routinely go to them in lieu of in-depth interviews with traditional music media." And herein lies the problem with this era of artists and how they now choose to do interviews and interact with the quote-unquote media. We are now seeing more and more artists opt to join a Kai Cenat stream or an Adin Ross stream as opposed to going to a real trained traditional journalist that might ask them the questions that inquiring minds would like to know, or more specifically, follow-up questions that would force artists to confront their most recent actions or decisions because it's less pressure to deal with the potential discourse following a high-profile interview. With so many rappers and other celebrities choosing to hang with Kai because of his fun and rambunctious energy he brings to his streams, there's less incentive for Kai to do his due diligence to learn about the influential figures in hip-hop culture because why should he? He is well aware of the massive impact, visibility, and notoriety his platform grants to artists without him having to lift a finger and actually put into work to listen to the music, dissect and analyze the songs, and ask the hard-hitting questions to artists who come on his stream to have a good time. At the end of the day, this is the trajectory that celebrities chose. I understand wanting to stray away from interviews because the media and publications often twist people's words and make them look crazy, but the end result is having younger social media influencers becoming your only source of promotion when these influencers have no clue who they are or how impactful songs like Bad, No Hands, Lotus Flower Bomb, and Matrimony have had on shaping a very memorable era in R&B and hip-hop culture. For this last one, I don't think any explanation is needed, but as Shifts Happen 248 said, parasocial relationships with celebrities should be added to the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, because some of y'all, especially the K-bots and OV-hoes, are actually lunatics. Anyways, this concludes my second installment of many more unpopular opinion videos to come. Please be sure to watch my previous unpopular opinion video linked below. Please be sure to also let me know what you all think about any of my unpopular opinions that I mentioned, and definitely share your own unpopular opinions in the comments. And